Okay, so today we are talking about school meal programs, and they have been so crucial right now in the pandemic, feeding so many children. 70% of our students across the state qualify for free or reduced lunch. So schools are a huge place where children receive meals and the nourishment that they need. So we have Belinda from Clinton School District who's going to share. We also have Julie, a child nutrition director at Nashville School District, and we have Rusha on the line as well, who's going to share about Ozark School District. So we have a good mix, some different school district sizes and locations across the state. We're so excited to bring this to you, and they're each going to share their story a bit. And like I said, if you have questions, please throw them in the chat, and we can have a discussion at the end to learn a little bit more about school meals. I'm going to let Belinda, if you want to unmute yourself, and while you're getting that, I'll explain who you are. So Belinda's the food service director for Clinton School District. She's worked there for 3 years and has previously worked as a gardener at San Diego Community College and as a cook at the Shirley School District. She loves working with plants and being outdoors. Belinda, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Okay. Well, as you know, I just did kind of a little timeline here. In January, somewhere around there, we all started hearing about this virus that we probably didn't know anything about, but I kind of dismissed it. It just wasn't that kind of thing that happens to us. And then I went from January, cut to the chase of Sunday, March 15th, at 5 o'clock on a Sunday evening, we get called in for a meeting, and instantly. And the next day, we're doing this thing we've never done before. We're feeding everybody out in the community via buses. So it was a big scramble, and somehow we pulled it off. And we've just been kind of tweaking everything and adapting and learning as we go. Okay. So anyway, I kind of made a little graph here just to show how we started I don't think hardly anybody even knew what we were doing at the very beginning. And so we served about 393 kids, and then it just kind of started climbing. You can probably pick out the rainy days. We've had a lot of rain. That might slow some of the kids from coming outside. We had started off with 18 buses, and our transportation director kind of whittled those down to 9, incorporating all the routes into lesser buses. And I think our biggest day so far was 1,059 students or children served. And if it wasn't for everybody that's just come in and helped and volunteered and worked, I don't know, there's just no way we could have done it. Everybody's just been amazing. So the food fight was on. After this happened, the manager at high school and we realized, oh my gosh, because all the food we've got, is hot meals to be served on trays. So we got together and just started just kind of trying to figure out what to do with commodities. We used up pretty much anything that we could send out pretty much simply. We came up with tortillas and ham and cheese roll-ups, turkey roll-ups, chicken tenders, and on biscuits, buns, whatever we could find. And of course, we began getting in touch with our vendors, and they would put out emails telling everybody that first come, first serve, we've got this, we've got that. And, we've just never dealt with that much prepackaged food before, so familiar with any of the items. I think one time we even had about 3,000 of those little black Meals on Wheels little microwavable dinners that we were able to get our hands on. So it is just a headache, because every time we think we had everything all figured out, they'd send us in all these invoices in red, out, out, out. So it's been very, very challenging as far as procuring food. You can go on. So there's a lot of inventory going on, just trying to use anything we could. Lots and lots of baking and then wrapping. Everybody was just tired of it. I've never seen so many little sandwich baggies in my life. But we would have to bake things off. Like we would order calzones and pizzas, and we thought they were going to be individual. So we would have to bake them, freeze them, wrap them, pack them, and this went on for quite a while. And then our manpower's down because several people had different health reasons they couldn't be at work. So it was pretty much a skeleton crew. You can go to the next slide. I just wanted to show a couple more pictures of more baking and wrapping. This was kind of in the beginning. We maybe weren't wearing masks as often as we should have in the beginning, and all that's changed. As we've kind of been learning about all that as we've been going. You can go to the next. So it was kind of fun at first. It felt like it was going to end. It was like, well, okay, we did this thing, now it's over. I think that was about week 2, and I guess we kind of jumped the gun. We were giving out awards. We had a little luncheon. We've got some watchdogs around here. I guess we had too many people at the luncheon, and we got socially shamed on that. So, I mean, like I said, that was way back in March. We've been learning. We've broke the days up and found ways to do more social distancing. Whenever you're ready, you can. Okay. So then we were told we had to set up an area where we have to tempt everybody, whether it's all the workers. We've got a little station set up, and on the waivers. I guess probably all of you that are directors have waivers pouring into your email every day. It's kind of hard to know which way to turn. So anyway, we just started adapting to all this, all these new procedures we'd never done before. You can go on to the next. It was kind of chaotic in the beginning. All the buses arrived at the same time, and people just started grabbing boxes and throwing them into buses. And we really didn't exactly know how many kids we'd be serving, and we didn't have things kind of set like aside per bus, and it's just all stuff that we learned. And pretty soon I'd say that everybody just became a well-oiled machine. And I think there's a video coming up that will attest to that. You can go to, yeah. Well, okay, there's our 2 crews. A couple of us are actually too old to be here during that time, but we had to be there. So we just worked on the off days. We took the Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, and we took care of the ordering, the menus, the baking, the wrapping, putting up the stock. Sometimes it seems like we'd be putting stock up for 2 hours, and getting the table set up for the people that came in to bag the next day. And I mean, that helped them immensely. So we did a lot of dishes. And then the Monday, Wednesday, Friday crew would come, and they would get to bagging everything and getting all the groupings of food together. And then the buses, our transportation director got a really nice schedule going, and the buses would just come one at a time. And so it was so much easier. We just focus on that bus and get it loaded up. And the people on the buses were, from what I've heard, actually going door to door in many of the cases. And in fact, the reason we gave them the awards earlier, they got to kind of competing against each other to see who could get the most kids, and it really was a lot of fun. Makes it a little harder now. They're starting to give us these big, huge pallets full of the food boxes and all that. So anyway, here's a video of the process of bagging. So now we are going to change up. Starting this Wednesday, we are going to attempt to feed a whole week's worth of food on one day. So we shall see what happens. And we also want to say that we appreciate our grants that we've received, and we're going to use all that to, of course, help with all the extra supplies that we need to do this the right way. So our big attempt is going to be this Wednesday. We're going to probably try to serve about a little over 10,000 meals. So plus they're giving us these food bank boxes of produce and dairy and stuff like that. So we shall see what happens. Go to the next. This was just a couple hours ago. We're running out of room. So we had over 400 cases of food, and we had to turn around and run it up to the other kitchen. So that's just probably another challenge that we're going to face as we ramp it up the way that we're doing now. So after all of this COVID-19 business, there's two things that we've got, if nothing else. We've got carrots, lots of them, and we've got hope. And that's it.
Belinda, thank you so much for sharing. And we are so excited to hear that you're still serving meals. It's very ambitious to be serving almost 10,000 meals in one day, but I loved seeing your graph that showed the increase in the need that you felt in your community, and how everyone really stepped up to provide that. I want to say that Rip on the chat called out and said, good luck with all of that. And
I know.
Jumping in too and saying thank you so much for all your work.
Okay, thanks.
Well, if you have questions for Belinda, please throw them in the chat. We will get to them. And in the meantime, I'm going to introduce Julie, who's going to jump on now to talk about Nashville School District. So Julie is the Child Nutrition Director, Food Service Director at Nashville School District. And she has over 20 years of experience in child nutrition in Oklahoma and Arkansas. And she's very passionate about the growth and well-being of future generations. So Julie, I'm going to pass it over to you to get us started talking about Nashville School District.
Hi, how are you guys doing today? First, I just want to kind of tell you a little bit about Nashville Schools. We have about a little under 2,000 students. We are 74% free and reduced. So about 5 years ago, we decided we needed to do a summer program, but we weren't getting any participation. So we tried a couple of things. The first year, we tried sending a bus out to the kids and bringing them to us. Well, that didn't work. We're only getting about 30 a day. So the next year, in 2018, we decided to start mobile feeding sites. So we named it a Scrapper Lunch Express, and we had 5 stops along the way, and fed the kids right off the back of the bus. We were serving about 250 kids a day last year. And then so when the COVID crisis came along, it was really pretty simple because we could just jump right into what we were doing before, and that's what we picked up and did. We picked up our summer feeding program, and with the waivers that we didn't have to have congregate feeding, we were able to add a lot more sites in. You can go to the next slide. So on March 16th, we began our COVID feeding using the waivers, and we started with 7 stops, and we served a breakfast and a lunch to each child at each stop. By the end of our bus route, we had 12 stops. We had incorporated some church and some school personnel to add some stops in for us because we only had 1 bus and we just couldn't do it all. We were feeding, I'm going to say, around 700 kids a day. That went up and down. Some days it might be 600 and some days it might be 750. So an average about 700 kids a day probably. Every day we served 1 hot item on the bus. And of course, all your other components, your fruit, your vegetables, your juice, your milk for breakfast, cereal, milk, fruit, and your other grain. We bagged all of the shelf-stable products. All the cold items were in ice chests, and we had some portable warmers that we used in the summer, so all of our hot items were in the portable warmer. And then we just kind of, as the students came to the door, we bagged up the food into 1 giant bag and handed it to them. So as the COVID-19 grew, we had the superintendent come to me and said, we've got to make a new plan for feeding. I don't want you out every day out in the community that way. The risk was too great, he felt. So on April the 28th, we started our first weekly drive-through meal pickup. And we are providing to each child that comes through 5 breakfast and 5 lunch all at one time. It is a bit challenging. We've changed how we've done it several times now. Each time I think we've gotten better. But a sample of what we're putting in each bag is 5 cereal, 5 Elf Graham, 10 servings of fruit, 5 servings of vegetables, 10 milk, 3 hamburger buns, 2 hamburger patties that are fully cooked, frozen, heat and serve, 1 chicken patty, heat and serve, 1 corn dog, heat and serve, and like order of chicken nuggets that are frozen so that parents can heat those at home. We didn't want to go with all cold meals. We wanted them to be able to have some hot. So we applied for the No Kid Hungry grant, the emergency response grant, and we received $9,000 from that grant, and we were one of the first in Arkansas to be awarded, and so we were excited. And what we used this money for is to purchase a lidding machine. And it will also help with some of the supplies and other things that you need to package this large amount of meals. We've done weekly pickups now 3 times, and I didn't tell you how many meals we were serving there. We're serving about 520 meals a day. Well, 520 students a day. So I would encourage everybody to look at the No Child Hungry for their grant processes. Their grant process is very easy. It's just question and answer. You have to have a budget and a list of things that you want. So that's something you would look at ahead of time. And I always say shoot for the moon and ask for everything you can think of that you might need. Anyway, I would say the most important thing that I would want to tell you is to be flexible. Every day we come up with a new idea. One day we're in the middle of serving the kids on the 5 meal day pickup, and one of the girls said, hey, what if we get Walmart carts? Wouldn't it be easier to push all this food out to the cars? And we called Walmart, and they loaned us 3 shopping carts. And so I'm just saying every day we come up with a new idea and a new plan and try something different until we get it down right. And we'd just gotten the bus down right when they changed us. So we're starting that process all over again. But just try new things and be flexible.
And I love, Julie, how you put your email address and phone number here in case people have more questions. And I'll work with you, Julie, as Rusha's chatting about her school district as well, so we can make sure that those videos can be shown to everyone.
Okay.
So impressive what you did. I loved your story too about working with that partnership with Walmart to get those shopping carts to really make it more accessible for you so that you could be providing all of these great meals to students.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. I'm going to pass it over to Rusha now. And like I said, I apologize everyone about the videos, but I will work with Julie and we'll get those ready to go after Rusha's finished chatting about Ozark School District, another great one for us to be featuring in our state. And so Rusha is the child nutrition director there as well. And it's in Ozark, Arkansas. She has an associate's of applied science, and she's worked for Ozark School District for 12 years now. And she's very passionate about her job and loves managing the 5 cafeterias with that school district. So Rusha, I'm gonna pass it over to you if you're ready to unmute yourself and share your story.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Rusha. I just want to talk a little bit about our school. We have about 1,800 students. And with the COVID starting, I'm just like Belinda and Julie talked about, it's been a struggle. You know, we worried about getting just the sacks to be able to send out the lunches and just the little cups with the lids. We had trouble getting some of them. My vendors were really good about helping me to try to get them. A lot of it was just everybody coming together. The people in my cafeterias plus the bus drivers, we wound up doing 6 buses, and we had 2 feeding sites where at the feeding sites that parents could come and pick up the meals and with the kids, or we done the waivers like everybody was talking about where the parents could just come pick it up. We just in April, we fed breakfast and lunch, and we fed 29,328 meals just in April. And in May, we done 24,276 meals. And what we wound up doing was on Mondays and Wednesdays. On Mondays, we would fix 2 meals for the Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But on Tuesdays, some of the workers would come in just to get stuff ready for the big push on Wednesday. And the buses, they would take them to certain areas of Ozark. And we stayed in contact on the phone with a lot of parents that couldn't get to them. And our homeless liaison, he would take meals. Even bus drivers, after they would get off the bus, would take meals to students and some of my workers. So I guess we fed 650 to 750 students per day. And Tyson donated boxes for us to put stuff in. Walmart, we asked them, they donated a bunch of their plastic bags so that we could put, you know, because you're sending out sometimes 6 milks and 3 juices for just one child, and just having the room for all this was a struggle for us. But we worked through it, and now we're down to where we started our summer feeding program, and we're feeding out of one site until the end of June. As of right now, we're going to wait and see how our numbers are, which they have dropped since a lot of those kids can't get to the school since the buses aren't running. We were really excited to get the No Kid Hungry grant. We got $7,000, and we've spent already almost $5,000 of it just in ice chests and insulated bags, because we were not prepared for all of this. You just don't have, 20 ice chests sitting in your cafeteria to be able to haul all this food. And we wanted to be able to keep it safe for the kids. And it was a struggle to make sure we met our guidelines on our greens, our oranges, and you wouldn't think you'd have to worry about getting carrots, but we had trouble there, but we substituted if we needed to, and got through it. But all of my workers done a great job, and the bus drivers helping us out, and really that's about all. We're still trying to get through it and keep going, just try to keep feeding the kids. This is the little cups that we're using to put like mashed potatoes in, and fruit, and different things. Those were hard to get there for a little bit. And this is Tammy Ferguson. She was one of my workers, and this is just where we've got bags set up for, and we would divide it out for each bus on how many was going on each bus, and then you can move on. Okay, and that's just some ice chests I had just went and bought. We had wound up buying 10 ice chests and 8 insulated bags, and that was some bags that I had to go buy at Walmart, and some snack size bags and sandwich bags. Just keep, that's what we're here for, is to feed the kids, and just keep your heads up and keep going. It'll all work out. So that's about all.
Risha, thank you so much for sharing that story and for having those photos. I see that there are so many similarities between all 3 of these districts on the work you've done, but each one is so unique, and the amount of kids you serve is really unique. Rip wrote a comment. I'm going to stop sharing our screen right here so we can kind of talk about that. He said he'd be interested in learning more about these partnerships with Walmart. Would any of you who have spoken so far share about how that happened? Did you just reach out to them? Was this done at the store level, or did you go to the corporate office?
We just went up, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut somebody off. We just went up here to our local Walmart and asked them, and they were glad to give us some of their plastic bags to use. And so they didn't have a problem donating them.
Awesome. Julie, do you want to jump in and share about Walmart on your end too with Nashville?
Yes, I'd be happy to. We also got Walmart bags from them. And then the shopping carts, and both things we did, we just went up and talked to them, told them what we were doing, and they were happy to help us. We've also gone to several of the local grocery stores to get some of our brown paper bags, or the one other local grocery store we have to get our brown paper bags and other items like that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing both of those. Belinda, did you partner at all with Walmart by chance, or another community organization, and have something to share there?
Well, we actually did receive a bunch of bags from Walmart, and I think that our board members are kind of known around here. One's like fire chief, and I think they just stopped in and talked to them, and they just kind of offered the bags. I don't know for sure if we asked for them, but we were using those. And then we were also fortunate that we had a chicken plant that shut down years ago, and it was full of boxes and boxes and boxes of these big Pilgrim's Pride plastic kind of see-through bags that are real tough and roomy. And so we've been using those, but there's been times we've ran out of mayonnaise packets and all that, things like that. And Sonic and Exxon have been really good to share their packets with us, and then we buy them some more. But it's partnering with Walmart, I think just the bags are all we've done. We had started off with the little paper bags, and it just was more of that wrapping up, having to sit there and roll the ends of them. So the clear bags that the guys came up with were from the chicken plant were just wonderful. So that's about it on that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that other chicken plant partnership. I love it, because each community is different. I want to say that Sally said thank you so much to you 3 for feeding our children, that these stories made her feel emotional. And I know that it does to me too, that you 3 are among so many heroes out there right now, making sure that children are fed right now. And we're so thankful for all the work that you've done. I want to also say that Lauren Alberton would love to see that link to the lidding machine. So Julie, I don't know, would you be able to share, are you on your phone or are you on your computer? Because
I'm on my phone.
On your phone, okay. Would you be able to share, I'm going to keep checking to make sure that I can get access to those videos. And if we can't do it in the next few minutes, I'll make sure to share those video links out with everyone so they can watch that afterwards, if that works with you, Julie.
That's great.
Okay, great. We'll keep working on it.
I'm sending you your email. See if I'm sharing them with your email.
Okay, perfect. I'll check on that. Thanks, Julie. Ben also came in here and said big box stores like Home Depot, Kroger, and Walmart, they all have some amount that they're able to donate at store level. So thanks, Ben, for throwing that in there. I know that I've worked with Lowe's and Home Depot who have donated plants in the past. And so yes, there is kind of that local donation that happens. Well, I would love for us to hear any more questions that you might have for these three incredible child nutrition directors with all the work they've done. Please throw your questions into the chat here, or feel free to unmute yourself, and I'll double check on that link so we can show Julie's videos. And if you can't, like I said, I'll email those out. Patty Barker also said 3 great examples of innovative solutions, hard work, and lots of heart. Rusha and Belinda and Julie, I wonder if you could maybe share like one moment that was really impactful, or like your favorite moment to think back on of all the hard work that you and your team have done during all of this.
I have one. Our superintendent was telling me he was struggling with whether or not we should even attempt to do this after the first week was pretty chaotic. And he was the last one at the school. He was sitting out front on a picnic table. And we also have, I don't know if I mentioned that we have a pickup, that people can just walk in and get meals too, out in front of the high school cafeteria. Well, anyway, he was out in front of that, sitting at the picnic table. He said he was just feeling pretty down. And then this gets me teary-eyed just thinking about it. An old raggedy van showed up, and a little boy got out, and he said he could tell the mother was kind of ashamed, and he, like I said, cardboard in the windows. He said it was pretty rough looking. And he walked up to him and he said, "Is this where we can come to get a meal?" And our superintendent, he said, then I knew right then and there that we were going to continue on and we were doing the right thing. He's all, yes, you're at the right place. And we still had some meals that he could grab because everybody had kind of closed up shop, but he got them their meals. And it made, to me, that's kind of kicked off the whole thing, made all of this so worthwhile. Anyway, that's my one moment.
That was beautiful, Belinda. Thank you for sharing that. We'd love to hear from Rusha and Julie too, if you have a really impactful story to share.
Well, of course, we were told daily by people, thank you so much. We don't know how we would have got our kids fed. This has been such a big help. But one of my cafeteria workers, a lot of mine would still, after they cooked, would still have to go out on the bus because I wanted to make sure that the food was safe, and I knew they had food safety training, and so they would go out on the bus to help deliver these meals. And this one, they had went down in a part that's pretty bad, and he knew this family wasn't doing very well, and he said he could see the little girl, one of the little girls, just waiting in the window, and when the bus pulls up, here she comes running out. She's so excited just to get that meal. She's barefoot, running in the mud, the rain, whatever, and she's just, that's what touches your heart, that they're excited, to get that meal, and, you're helping them not be hungry that day. So, yeah, stuff like that, really touches you.
It does. I mean, I'm not kidding when I say the work that you three and your whole teams have done is hero work, and I know everyone on this call is thankful for it, and so many families beyond. Making me tear up a little bit, both those stories. They're so beautiful, so thank you both for sharing them. And I just want to say thank you to Belinda and Rusha for those stories. Thank you so much for sharing them and opening up. And I know I learned so much, and I don't want to speak for everyone on the call, but just so much love came through in the chat, and I think that we all are so appreciative of the work that you've done. So thank you for feeding our Kansan kids. Thank you for working through and really being an essential worker. You are crucial in all of this, so thank you so much. I see another chat coming in from Rip, talking about that the issues that Belinda talked about around supply shortages really mirrors what our country's been dealing with with our personal protective equipment, that we're also seeing food shortages, I think is what Rip is referring to, and how it's shown how fragile these systems are and how important and critical this work is that child nutrition directors like you three have done, that we're just so thankful for that. So he just wanted to pop that in, and Francis is also saying that they enjoyed the information so much today. So if you have any final thoughts, please feel free to unmute yourself or add it into the chat. And I want to just thank Julie and Rusha and Belinda so much for sharing your story and being vulnerable and pulling those photos together for us. Thank you for all of your work. You are incredible.